All right, before we get started, I really kind of want to express and go over the yarn. So when you're picking out yarn, there is always the different types of material. As you see, this one is 100% premium acrylic yarn. And this is the maker who makes this, the Hobby. And I absolutely love their yarn. I've only used the cotton, so this will be my first time using their acrylic. But I absolutely love their cotton, so I'm excited to try out this brand. And this one was actually donated to me, or not donated, I'm sorry. I did a trade for a finished crocheted project for this yarn. So I did not purchase this, but I am extremely excited to use it. So as you see here again, it says the Tweet Dreams. That's the design that you have here. And it's 100% acrylic. And then if you look down here, this is for knitting. You would need for your knitting needles is a 4.5. We are not knitting today. We are actually going to be crocheting. And the needle that they recommended is a 4mm hook. Or it's in that G. So you'll see a letter that says G. So another thing that you can go here, this right here is the weight. So it's a weight 3. So it's not chunky or anything. And it's not the standard. The standard is like a 4. So this is a little lighter weight, a light yarn. Right here, this will tell you can't iron it. And I'm not sure a lot of these pictures exactly 100%. I don't really follow these. They do let you know if a 4x4 square, that it would take you 19 stitches and that it would be 28 rows. So just to create a square. So that's going over the yarn. And most yarns, I don't know if this one's the same, is you pull from the center of the yarn. If not, sometimes you can have a yarn vomit. Another way that you can actually pull without having it being tangled, especially ones that are like smaller like this, is taking the tag off and then just working your yarn around. But you will be rolling around and stuff like that. So that's why sometimes I like to pull from the center so it keeps my yarn straight. Okay, now that we went over the yarn, I kind of want to go over some crochet hooks with you. And some recommendations. As you can see, I have 3 different types of crocheted hooks. And really it depends on exactly what you really like. This one right here, and I don't know where my 4mm hook for this one is, but this one right here, as you can see, I don't think I have batteries in it because I rarely ever use these, but they light up perfect for in the dark. I rarely ever use these. I do like the fact that it's a little bit thicker. I crochet a lot, so they're a lot more comfortable than these thin ones. When you're crocheting for hours with these thin ones, you will cramp up. Your wrist will hurt. Your fingers will cramp. This, as you can tell, with wear and tear, that is my absolute favorite kind of crocheted hook. This one has a really good gel grip. It feels really comfortable and it's very simple. It doesn't have a long neck. So if you're doing tons of loops and stuff, it doesn't work for that. But other than that, it's a really great, especially for a beginner's hook. So you're not going to get wrist issues. So another thing let's talk about for tips with the hook. As you can see here, as I had mentioned earlier, that this yarn recommends a 4mm hook. Now, for tips for that is if you're wanting your projects to be more of having a thicker space, more airy, and kind of more of a drape look, you're going to want to go up in size. So the 4mm hook, you would go one full size up and it would be the 5mm hook. And then that's how you can get the more of a drape look, looser look of the stitch. If you're wanting the tighter stitch, of course, you can go smaller. It would be a little bit more challenging to go with a 3mm hook on this if you're beginners, but it is possible. And it gives you more of a stiff look. So it's good for baskets, things that you're going to hold, bowls, stuff like that. So for drapery, for clothes though, you usually want to go up a size. And usually if you're not wanting it to be see-through, you're concerned with that. Of course, the single crochet, half double crochet, as I had posted in the previous video, you can see the difference. And what you could see the image below, which one's see-through, which one's not. So of course, the bigger your stitching are, the more of the spacing in between, and you're going to be able to see through your project. So, but now that we went over the yarn, the hooks, and the tips of which ones we could do, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so as I said before, when you get a written pattern. This is not for a diagram. So these are for written, and majority of the patterns now these days are in written form. You will start off, which would say a foundation. So a foundation is your starting point of your project. When you see a project that says foundation, it will be below, and it will tell you how many chains you're going to do for the project. So in this instant, we're going to pretend that our project is requesting 10 chains. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to get that started. And for today's purposes, I don't have the right millimeter hook for my recommended yarn ball. This is a 4.5. And like I said, this is my favorite one to work with. I do have wrist issues for crocheting so much. So let's see if this pulls out nicely in the center. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. I don't know if I'm going to get a yarn ball vomit or not. So I don't think this is the kind of yarn that you pull from the center. So I just made a mess. So I'm just going to shove that yarn right back in the center and pretend that I never did that. And we're just going to carefully just peel our label off. That's what we're going to do today. And we're just going to start our ball just like that. Okay. Let me see if I can get real close. And because I'm in a small space, dark room, and then this is still kind of new to me, I am going to mark a dot right where my center is so I can keep my camera, because that's where my issue was from last time. So to start a chain or start any of your work, you're going to hold the tail of your work with your 2 fingers in your palm like this. You're going to go up your fingers, you're going to wrap around, and then up and over, creating this X. Okay? You're going to get your crochet hook. You're going to go underneath the first string of the yarn, grab the second one, and you're going to pull it through like this. And so you don't lose your work, you're going to hold your hand on the bottom gently with the tail and just gently pull like this. So when you start your work, you certainly do not want your work to be tight, and you don't want it to be too loose. So to start your chain, because you want it to be easy to maneuver your needle in. To start a chain, you're going to wrap your yarn around your hook, and all you're doing is pulling right through that loop. See if I can zoom in a little closer. So again, hold your hands right here, and it's going to get time for you to get used to it. But you're going to wrap your yarn. Let me take that off so it's not distracting. You wrap your yarn around your hook and just go straight through. So as you see here, we have 1, if you can see the hole, and 2. So we have 2, and like I said, we're going to pretend our pattern said 10. So that's 2. Wrap your yarn around. I'm going to say 3. Wrap your yarn. 4. Just wrapping around and pulling through. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. Let me see if I can get this tail out of the way so it's not a distraction. And you're going to loop it around for 10. And that's what your chain looks like. And believe it or not, you actually can do a project with just single chains. I will be posting how for children to do single chain bracelets like this, and then adding a bead to it. So something simple, something fun, and practice that so you're not just doing boring chains. So now that we have our chain, we're going to talk about a thing called turning chains. You'll see it always at the end of the pattern. Once it says 10 chains, it will say at the end, turn your work around, and you're going to start a single crochet. So that means is you're not going to have any turning chains with your chains. So let's say you just did your chain 10 like your pattern told you, and it said turn your work around. So what that means is you're going to put your work to your left, and you're going to start working this way. And then to do a single crochet, you're going to grab your hook, and you're not going to go into the exact same stitch you're in, but this next one exactly right here, Stick your hook into that stitch, wrap your yarn from behind, and pull up a stitch. And if you see, you got 1, 2 loops onto your hook. You're gonna wrap your yarn around your hook again and pull through the 1 and 2 loops that were on your hook, and that's a single crochet. So let me zoom in and see if we can get a better look for you. Okay, so you go into do the single crochet. So you just completed this stitch, and if you see right here, that's your next stitch. You're gonna put your hook right there. You're gonna wrap your yarn from behind, and you're going to pull it through and pull up a stitch. And again, 1, 2 loops on your stitch, wrap your yarn around your hook again, and pull through both stitches just like that. So if you look here, that's 1 stitch, that's 2 stitch. So we did 2, and let's pretend for our sakes the pattern said go ahead and do 9 across. So that was 2, and then you see right here we go to this next one for a single crochet. So you stick your hook in, wrap your yarn behind, pull up a stitch, just like that. You have 2 loops, wrap your yarn around your hook, and pull through the 2 loops. Put your hook into this next stitch, grab your yarn from behind and pull up a stitch, wrap your yarn around your hook, and pull through both stitches. And I know it's gonna feel so weird holding your work while working on it, but it will get easier, and you will find your own pattern on how you like to hold it. So again, stick your hook right into the next stitch, wrap your yarn from behind, and pull up a stitch. And you see right here you have 2 loops in your stitch. Wrap your yarn around a hook and pull through the 2. So you're going to keep going across. And then you would go into this next stitch right here, wrap around, and then if you see, we still have 1, 2 stitches left. See, 1 and then 2. So we're going to go into this next one right here, grab your yarn and pull up a stitch, wrap your yarn around the hook and pull through. And let's do this last stitch right here, wrap your yarn from behind and pull up, wrap your yarn and pull through the last 2. So at the end of your work, this is what your single crochet row should look like. And then we can even count the stitches, and I'll show you how to do that. Get my other crochet hook to make it easy for you. Okay, see this stitch right here? That's 1. This next one you would go through both loops, that's 2. Next one, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and this last one right here would be 9. So that's what it looked like. So your foundation, as you always start, was like a 10, and then when you turn your work, you go in the single crochet in the next one. So you lose 1 stitch from doing that. So here on out, we're going to have 9 stitches on our little row, and this right here completed is row 1 when you see in pattern. So for a single crochet, there is no turning chains. Some of them will do turning chains, but for my tip to have a straighter line, I don't do any turning chains onto my single crochet. So we turn our work around, and the next stitch that I'm going to show you, because that was the single crochet, is the half double crochet, and then you will see it in written patterns as HDC. So let's just say on our row 2, because we just completed row 1, our row 2 says we're going to do 9 half double crochets across. So you're going to turn your work around, again making sure that it's facing to the left of you, and you're going to work in each of these stitches that I had showed you how to count them. Okay, no turning chains. And to do a half double crochet, you're going to wrap your yarn around your hook, and you see this stitch right below the very first one. That's where you're going to stick your hook in. Okay, grab your yarn from behind, and then you're going to pull up a stitch. And as you can see here, you have 1, 2, 3 on your 3 loops onto your hook. So instead of 2, it's 3. So for the half double crochet, to complete it, you're going to wrap your yarn around your hook, and you're just going to gently pull through all 3, and that's a half double crochet. So to do another one, wrap your yarn around your hook. You're going to go into this next stitch right here, pull your yarn from behind and pull up a loop. Again, you'll see 3 loops onto your hook. Wrap your yarn around your hook again, and then gently pull through all 3 on your hook, and that's a half double crochet. So wrap your yarn around a hook, go into this next stitch, wrap your yarn, go up a stitch, you have 3 loops, wrap your yarn around your hook again, and gently pull through all 3. So, and you're just going to continue across. Okay. See, if you split right here and you see how the yarn split, you certainly do not want to go on to your next stitch, because if not, it's not going to frog well, and it's not going to be loose. It's going to be tight, and your stitching is going to look really, it's going to be a little obvious when you see it in your project. So you want to make sure that you're always going through the whole entire string and making sure that you're not splitting it, because as you can see, it can sometimes be easy to do. So you want to make sure you have your whole entire loop. Wrap yarn around your hook, put it into the next stitch, wrap it behind, you have 3 loops, wrap yarn around the hook and pull through all 3. And again, that's the half double crochet. And this is the last stitch. You want to make sure you don't miss it. Wrap yarn around a hook and pull up a stitch. So, and that, if you look closely, this one right here is row 1 that you had just completed, and this right here is row 2. Now we're going to go over the next stitch. And the next stitch, because we just did the half double crochet, so the next one is we're going to do the double crochet. And then the written pattern, you'll see it as written as DC. So let's pretend in this pattern it says turn your work around, or sorry, chain 1. So that's our turning chain. It says chain 1, turn work around, and start doing a double crochet across. So now we're finally getting into our turning chains. And like I said, everyone does their turning chains a little different. I only do 1 for the double crochet to keep this like very tight and straight as possible. So but you can do 2 if you want. Others do 2. I just like the 1 look. So if you just chain 1, that's all it is. So remember how you do it is just like in the beginning of this video. You just wrap your yarn around a hook and you pull through. So that's chain 1. And then it said turn your work around, right? And then we're going to do double crochet across. So if you look down right here, not the chain 1, that doesn't count, but this very first stitch, that's where you're going to do your double crochet. And to do a double crochet, you're going to wrap your yarn around your hook, and you're going to place your hook directly into the stitch. Wrap your yarn around your hook, your yarn from behind, and pull up a loop, and you have 3 loops just like you did the half double crochet. So this is where it's slightly different, is you're going to wrap your yarn around your hook, and you're only going to pull through 2, just the 2 loops. So when you do that, you should only have 2 loops remaining on your hook. To complete the double crochet, wrap your yarn around your hook again and pull through the last 2 remaining stitch. So we're going to do another double crochet into the next stitch, which is this one right here. So to do that again, wrap your yarn around your hook and you're going to go directly into this stitch right here. Grab your yarn from behind. You'll have 3 loops onto your hook. Wrap your yarn around your hook and pull through 2. To complete the double crochet again, wrap yarn around a hook again and pull through the remaining 2. Continue. Let's go into this next one, and you can see they're starting to get easier to see. So you're going to put your hook into this next stitch, wrap your yarn around a hook. You have 3 loops. Wrap your yarn around the hook and pull through the first 2 stitches. Wrap your yarn around the hook and pull through the last 2. And you're going to keep doing that to do your double crochet. So 3 loops, pull through 2, wrap yarn around again and pull through the last 2. Wrap yarn the hook, get into your next stitch, grab a yarn from behind, you have 3, wrap yarn around the hook, pull through the first 2, you'll have 2 remaining, wrap yarn around the hook and pull through the last 2. And that's how you do a double crochet. And we are not done. You see this right here? It's kind of like a turn around. That's an actual chain. So that's our last chain. You're going to stick your hook and you're going to make sure you go through both of those stitches. And for the stitches, there's always a front and a back. So you're going through both. Wrap your yarn from behind, pull up a stitch. You have 3, wrap yarn around, pull through the first 2. And as you can see, I split a little bit, and we don't want that because it won't come undone very nicely. See, now it's nice. Wrap your yarn and pull through the last remaining 2. So as you look closer, it's kind of hard to see. We had 1 chain, 2 rows, and this is the 3. So you can see the difference between the single crochet, half double crochet so far, and then the double crochet. Okay. So now that we had gone over the double crochet, we're going to go over this treble crochet. And then the acronym for that is TR. Again, this one is not as popular, but I still wanted to go over it with you so you knew what to look for. I rarely ever do treble crochets, but for this one I think I'm going to do 2 turning chains. So we're going to pretend that the row said to start a new row for row 4. We are going to chain 2. So you remember, wrap yarn around a hook, pull through a loop, that's chain 1. Wrap yarn around the hook, and pull through, that's chain 2. And then it said turn the work around, and then we're going to do a treble crochet. So a treble crochet, you're going to wrap your yarn around your hook not just once, but twice. So you'll see you'll have 3 loops on your hook before you go into here, this first stitch right here. You're going to get in the stitch, you're going to grab your yarn from behind and pull up a loop. And if you space it out here, you'll see 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 loops on your hook. So to do a triple crochet, you're going to wrap your yarn around the hook and you're just going to pull through 2. And as you see, you have 3 loops on your hook remaining. You're going to wrap your yarn around your hook again and pull through 2. And then if you see right here, you have 2 remaining loops left. To complete the triple crochet, you're going to wrap your yarn around your hook again and pull through the last 2. And that's what the triple crochet looks like. So let's do it again. Wrap your yarn around once, but twice. And we're going to get into this next stitch right here. Grab your yarn from behind and pull up a loop. So you have 4. Wrap your yarn around your hook, pull through first 2, wrap your yarn, next 2, wrap your yarn, the last 2 loops. And that's how you do a triple crochet. Let me get some extra yarn here. Okay, so we did wrap around once, twice, and let's continue this. Go into your next stitch, pull up a loop, 4, wrap yarn around the hook, pull through the first 2 stitch, wrap yarn around the hook, pull through the next 2 stitch, wrap yarn around a hook and put through the last 2 stitch. Do it again until we're all the way across. And we're doing this for a total of 9 times. Again, each row is only for 9 stitches. Come in here, pull up a loop, wrap, pull through 2, wrap, pull through the next 2, wrap, pull through the last 2. And you will get faster as you get better at this. So practice takes time. I've been crocheting since I was 9 and I'm still learning how to crochet new techniques. So let's go into this next one. And if you're ever wondering, I am 42 I think. 42 or 43. Don't keep track of that no more. And as you can see, I had split the yarn right here. We don't want that. You can always just pull out of it and redo it. And I'll show you in a minute in the end of this video why it is important to make sure that you don't have any splits in your work. Go around this next stitch. And last but not least, see the stitch? Remember again, that is your last stitch. Do not forget that stitch. Make sure it's going through both loops. Pull up, wrap around, pull through the first 2, wrap, pull through the next 2, and pull through the last 2. Okay, so let's say you are completely done with your pattern and it told you to slip stitch ST off, and then it said to sew your work in. So it's very simple to do a chain to the slip stitch. It's just basically all you're doing is grabbing your yarn and you're pulling it through the chain. You're pulling it up. You always want to leave yourself a decent long tail like this. You're going to cut it off and then you're going to gently tug it to complete it. And then that's when you would grab your ends and then you would sew it into your project. And then that's how the basic stuff for just crocheting. You want to know how you're doing it right? Breaks my heart sometimes to do this. It's called frogging. Is if it peels easily without any tugs, and you can totally pull it all off, and then you have your yarn like it's never happened. That's how you know you did it properly. So I hope you liked this video, that it was very informative. It was a very good visual exactly on each of the stitching, on how and what they mean. So if you like this video, make sure you give me a thumbs up and subscribe and follow for more.